Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very exciting Oceania Cruises webinar. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CLIA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. This webinar will run about 30 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Nikki Upshaw. As the Senior Vice President of Sales for Oceania Cruises, Nikki leads and manages a talented team and is responsible for travel agent sales in North America. She is recognized as a highly motivated and top-performing sales and marketing executive, as well as an innovative, creative, and results-oriented leader with strategic and global experience. Nikki leverages her business relationships with luxury brands and travel purveyors to achieve top results. And with that, take it away, Nikki.
Thank you very much, and my goodness, I better live up to that introduction. Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us, or if you're listening to the recording, to listen and watch the recording at your leisure. I thought today that we would talk a little bit about how to position ourselves for success in this very, very challenging time. And I know we all use different adjectives, so challenging might actually not always fit the bill. Sometimes it's more than just challenging. But yes, we need to stay positive. We need to look at ways to continue to engage. And that's really my message today. One of the, I would say, best practices or what we've learned really has kept Oceania Cruises doing extremely well in these times. And of course, when we talk to our top agency partners, what really is working for them is engagement. And sometimes it's hard, right? Because these are difficult times and you might not feel like you're energetic enough or excited enough. But I would say, or I'd give you a little tip, that the more you actually engage with your clients, or, well, yes, with Oceania Cruises ideally, but your top suppliers and partners, the more that will fuel you, the more that it will help you overcome any doldrums. So the client engagement can be everything from Zoom calls and virtual, cruise nights and virtual events to, of course, just even a phone call. Sometimes there is a thing of Zoom or webinar fatigue, right? So even just a phone call to hear someone's voice and their passion or their energy. Social media engagement, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, has been incredibly helpful for Oceania to stay in touch with our past guests and even some, of course, prospects. With us, we'd love you to reach out to the sales director or BDM in your region, complete our engagement and our specialist course in Oceania Cruises University. And, let's set a plan forward. I know it might sound strange, but yes, we are seeing some terrific booking trends for next year and the year after. And so, although unfortunately we're not sailing, we are paused, as you may know, through October 31st with our cruise operations. That doesn't mean we're not marketing actively, and we've had incredibly successful holiday sales to get some business going for next year and again 2022. So I talked about engagement, and I'd like to share with you some of the social media platforms that we're using at Oceania Cruises that you then can take advantage of. Instead of having to build your own content, invite your clients to be part of our Oceania Oceania Insider and O Life at Home series, where some of our chefs, our artists in residence, some of our onboard team really, have wonderful, fun interviews that your clients can then listen to and get to know Oceania in a very natural, personal way. The other, of course, is our blog. We have an amazing blog, and you can go onto it by going onto our website. The bottom footer has our blog. You can link to that and send recipes, send some articles about destinations. It's all about this time of dreaming and planning, and we feel that all of these digital tools in today's age have really helped to keep us at the forefront, and it helps you. It's a little bit of an excuse or a reason to make sure that your clients know that you're looking out for them and are ready to work with them. On the partner engagement side, I mentioned Oceania Cruises University, but we also have a newsletter from yours truly that comes out once a month. So if you're not already registered to receive it, that gives you, some special edition news, of course, regarding COVID and the pandemic and how we're addressing that, but also just in general promotional tips, some ideas of what's coming soon for Oceania. Our Oceania Insider Facebook page is another resource for you. And the Oceania Cruises University, all of you hopefully take advantage of the fantastic CLIA training, courses and, virtual ship events. But if you want to become a specialist, okay, let me rephrase that. Of course you want to become a specialist with Oceania. I would encourage you to, take this course. There's a little spiff in it for you. There's shipboard credit and bonus commissions once you complete the courses. And we are actually adding modules continuously. So even if you take the first course, don't think, okay, I'm done. I would encourage you to continue to visit our university and then take the, I'm going to call them graduate courses, and continue to expand your knowledge. And it's not just about our product, about our brand, about our experience. It's also sales tips, how to hunt for affinity groups, how to market, digital marketing tips, etc. So it's also, on the business side, ways we can work together. So just to switch gears a little bit from engagement, I'd like to, and I know many of you might already sell Oceania Cruises, others, you might not know that much about us. So I thought to, really share with you what we're all about, but in the context, of course, of today's times. And as we look at, how we all are being affected, and of course, the travel industry overall being affected so, in such a big way due to COVID, we keep looking at consumer mindset to keep us on track on what we should be focusing on. And these are studies that Condé Nast shared with us that, yes, most travelers know it's not possible to travel right now, but they do want to be inspired to travel in the future, which leads us, as I just shared, to sharing social media posts. They also want to make sure that their travel booking is flexible because, again, we don't know what's coming, unfortunately, right? Everything is so fluid. So flexibility and reassurances are important. Also, the fact that they want to understand about, health and safety protocols, which we all know that's uppermost as well. And lastly, that there's value, that there's going to be inspiration, but there's going to be a value proposition. So how is Oceania addressing all of these? First, let's talk about, the health and safety protocols. And I will say that I feel that travel advisors and travel agents have always been incredibly important to our industry. They are very much important to Oceania Cruises. We can't survive, we can't make it without all of you. But in this time of the pandemic, even more so, I think that you are this not only value interpreter, not only the one to help inspire your clients, but also the one to help them navigate all the details of a healthy return to sailing. For us, we've invested with the Healthy Sail Panel, and here we have, Michael Levitt, who is the former Secretary of Health and Human Services, and also, Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who many of you have probably seen on different news shows recently, who is the former commissioner of the FDA, and they're working with a whole group of 10 other specialists in public health, in hospitality, in maritime operations to really create protocols for Oceania to make sure that when your guests come sail with us, they feel that we're doing everything we can to ensure their health and safety. And it's going to fall into 3 different main areas. The safety of our ships themselves, which comes with sanitation and embarkation and disembarkation testing, as well as then, of course, on board, the sanitation, no touch food service, of course, then to our crew, to keeping them healthy and safe, which then, of course, will just circle back to the guests as well. So they have been coming up with new protocols that will be submitted to the CDC. This health and safety panel is actively working on all of that. And, our next step here is hopefully approval, so that then we can move forward on the next step, which is getting our ships back in the water. all of this information is ever changing only because we keep learning, right, as we all do, new things about how best to address the pandemic. So I would encourage you to come to the website, which is where you'll find all of the latest and greatest. So keep checking in on oceaniacruises.com often for the latest health and safety protocols. And again, our next update we think will come quite soon as the Healthy Sail Panel submits all of their recommendations. So kind of steering into what makes Oceania such a applauded vacation experience, such a unique vacation experience. What differentiates us from other fabulous cruise options? We feel it's three main areas. Our exquisitely crafted cuisine. We're known for the finest cuisine at sea. Also, for our destination experiences. It's not just where we take your clients, it's how we take them there. And then our small ship luxury. And I think more than ever, we're seeing that we're attracting guests that might never have sailed on Oceania before, primarily because they do like the fact that, especially in these times, a smaller ship with a high space ratio is going to help them with physical distancing, social distancing, and that's, of course, very important to many. So I'd like to just start a little bit with our travel experiences. And we do travel to, frankly, destinations all over the world, anywhere from 7 to 180 days, every single continent. And, these destinations are, of course, everything but Antarctica and, Galapagos. So I would say that we just aren't in that expedition mode, but everywhere else, sailings to Africa, to the South Pacific, of course, Europe, all parts of Europe, the Baltic, Northern Europe, Mediterranean, South America, the beautiful, areas of the Chilean fjords and Patagonia, into, of course, closer to home, Canada, New England, Alaska. We certainly have some coastal Western, California wine cruises. And yes, of course, then, Africa, I mentioned, in Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Tahiti. So just about everywhere in the world with different cruise lengths. And really that is, gives us great reach. But as I shared, it's not just where we go. We feel that one of the differentiators for Oceania is offering excursion experiences. And yes, we're going to take a look at this as well due to COVID as far as how we curate these so that we are meeting the safety standards required. But these excursions are really tailored to the passion points of the type of guest that comes to Oceania. The type of guest is typically, I would say, an inquisitive traveler, very destination driven. They're sophisticated. They like the finer things in life, great cuisine, architecture, culture, art, but they also like to travel in a relaxed style. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about our beautiful ships. But as we look at this list of our excursions, it's culinary discovery tours that allow you to go into special, local markets with our chefs. The Go Local tours, where you're going to be able to visit different ports throughout the world, and you're guided by someone that lives in that town. For example, you can go sheep herding when you're in Scotland. You can actually go with an artist in the Amsterdam area and see where they get their inspiration and paint with them. So it's really a wonderful way to immerse yourself as a local. Wellness tours, also, instead of just doing our beautiful spa experiences on board, you can actually do Tai Chi in Palma de Mallorca, or yoga when you're in Asia, in Bangkok, and we'll take you to a local studio. So it's extending the wellness experience off the ship. Food and wine tours are fantastic, and some special excursions that can be created and customized for only 8 to 10 guests at a time with our select excursions. So that's also an opportunity for all of you. Now, moving to our small ships, we have a fleet of 6 ships. And again, for some of you, this might be a refresher. For others, if you don't know a lot about Oceania, a little bit of a glimpse, and then you can, again, take the Oceania Cruises University course, and that will give you even more details. But the 6 ships, 4 of which are in the regatta class. 684 guests. I put here 650 because we're obviously all looking at what reduced capacity might be, and probably that capacity will have to be reduced even more by guidelines that might be given to us. But we have a very nice guest to staff ratio. And what differentiates our ships is truly the residential feel and residential style. Oceania class is Marina and Riviera, and these are our two, our two ships that we built in 2011 and 12, and they're, yes, slightly larger. This is the full capacity, but still a beautiful space ratio and wonderful onboard enhancements and options. I started saying our residential design because we always felt that when you come aboard an Oceania ship, it should feel a little bit like home away from home, with very much, the attention to detail in the art, in the touches, in the architecture, in the way the furniture is set, all of the different areas that you can lounge in. And that gives a sense of both luxury, but also a sense of experience, right? I talked earlier about, yes, the Oceania guest likes an experience that's sophisticated, yet casual. We are country club casual, so no jackets and ties required. I know you see some pictures here with jackets for the gentlemen, but that's only their choice. Never will we require jacket or tie. And so that country club resort casual gives it an air of informality to still a luxurious type of experience. And our service is something everyone does applaud. It's genuine, it's warm. We are so proud of our Oceania Cruises family that really just looks forward to catering to everything that your clients might need while on board. Well, and last but not least, depends on when you're watching this or listening to this, if I'm going to make you incredibly hungry here, but yes, we're known as the cruise line for foodies, exquisitely crafted cuisine. And it's not just about the cuisine, it's about the ambiance we create, but it's also the team. It starts with Jacques Pepin, who has been our executive culinary director since the very beginning. He helped us assemble a team of Michelin star chefs and chefs that have experience at some of the top restaurants around the world, as well as, yes, of course, on the cruise, in the cruise industry. And this team really is incredibly creative as far as the types of dishes they create, the presentation, everything from, 250 plant-based, food items on our menu to, any dietary need that's required, to, of course, pushing the envelope to not just have great food for a cruise line, great food, full stop, just great dining experience. It also starts with our ingredients, because Jacques Pepin has always said, and any of you that are chefs, amateur chefs or great cooks know that it's really hard to make a great dish or a great meal with not so great ingredients. So we really invest in the actual food quality, the flour from France, the butter from France, the plancho flour, the fresh fish, strategy we have, which is fresh fish wherever we are in the world, not frozen fish. Unique items for all of our restaurant experiences that actually come from the ports you're going to. And then it's also, of course, the ambiance. We have different specialty restaurants all included in the fare, and every one of them has a different feel. But we also create the culinary experience through our culinary center, hands-on culinary centers on Marina and Riviera. And of course, the setting itself, I started talking about the ambiance. So we have Red Ginger, which you see here, or Toscana, our Italian Mediterranean Polo Grill. Each restaurant has its own galley. Each restaurant has its own ambiance. And what that does is it means that we can create food experiences, culinary experiences that are tailored to you, that are customized. It's always, just a la minute. It's always the way you ordered it, what you'd like. And it's all at open seating, so that flexibility that comes with not having to make reservations is very important as well. So ambiance, presentation, the food itself really rounds out to incredible culinary experiences. So now I'm just going to turn over to value, because we can have wonderful dining experiences, beautiful ships and service, and take you to the best places in the world, but your clients are ultimately going to seek value. And I would say that with Oceania, we embed quite a bit of value within our experience. All of this that you can see here, internet, the specialty restaurants are included, room service, the shuttles into city center. And again, we all know that's going to change a bit as we learn about what different protocols we have to have in place. But certainly that's a cost savings and a luxury in a way to not have to worry about getting to and from city center. All of our group classes are free, and non-alcoholic beverages as well as laundry. So that's all included every day. But in addition to that, we have our O-Life Choice program. O-Life Choice means that on every cruise, every category, you can advise your clients to choose between free shore excursions, free beverage package, or free shipboard credit. And the number of excursions and the amount of the shipboard credit does vary depending on the length of cruise, but that's another added. Our tagline is your world, your way. So what we want to do is have everyone be able to customize their vacation with us. And this allows them to customize based on whatever's more important to them. So that's embedded in here. And I thought just to give you a little feel for Oceania's price points for, again, those of you that might not be as familiar with us. So here's a 7-day voyage. Our O-Life fare, our O-Life Choice fare does include air from 26 gateways in the US and Canada. So here you have the starting with, $25.49, including air, or if someone doesn't want our airfare, $13.49 on this 7-day voyage. Again, in addition to this price, they'd be able to choose between complimentary shore excursion, shipboard credit, or beverage package. And you can see here, a 10-day Stockholm to Copenhagen price point, as well as then an Alaska. So we feel like we're offering, and one of the secrets of Oceania's success, I will say, is that we are right between the premium, the wonderful premium brands, and the luxury brands. We offer a luxury experience that's not quite all-inclusive at a great value. So more inclusions typically than a premium line, not quite as many as luxury, but then as you can see at these price points, really incredible value. And that's really been the opportunity and where we really shine. These days, and I mentioned earlier what was important to the consumer, it's health and safety protocols, it's being inspired with fantastic destination experiences, it's certainly great value, but then of course it's the flexibility with their payment. And we have a traveler's assurance program that allows your clients to cancel up to 15 days prior to departure, no questions asked, and that is for any bookings made through the end of October, and for any sailing through October of 2021, then their full payment, if they cancel, will be converted to 100% future cruise credit. So what that means is that, of course, their payment is not at risk. And we all know that's incredibly important these days. In addition, I know I've heard, okay, Nikki, tell me here, why should I book now? I bet you're going to come out with a better offer. And what I've shared, and this is the best price guarantee that you can also guide your clients with, is that we know that things might change, but we don't know if they'll change and if they change, how, right? So with confidence, book today. Number one, with our traveler's assurance program, when you pay in full, you'll have this ability to convert it to a future cruise credit if you so desire. But secondly, if we come out with a better offer after you've already booked with Oceania, we will protect that offer so that you can be assured you're not at risk of booking early. And that's a huge statement, I think, again, when there's so much that's so unknown, for you to give your clients that safety net. So in closing, before we turn to questions that you might have, I want to, again, just remind you that at the end of the day, even though we can't travel today, most of us, well, I think maybe all of us that are in the travel industry have a passion for discovery, and your clients want to keep getting inspired. So our Remember the Future campaign, as you look at our website and at our blog and at our social media, and of course then our YouTube channel with our videos, all talks about and helps continue that inspiration, helps you continue that engagement, and helps us both together keep exciting your clients to travel when the time is right and when they're comfortable. So please do, in these very heavy times, Remember that it will get better. Remember the future, that we will be traveling again, hopefully quite soon. And that, yes, we want to be your partner and continue to be your partner with you, and to develop business together to help you on the road to recovery from everything that's happened. So thank you again, and I'll turn it over for any questions that might have popped up.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nikki. We do have some questions coming in. I'll start with our first one from Laura, who is wondering if you think Oceania will bump up the release date of new itineraries.
Oh, that's a great question. I should have talked about that. So our next itinerary release is going to be November 11th. And we honestly thought to do it sooner, but there's this election thing going on, and we thought we might get lost in the shuffle of all of that. So November 11th is when we're going to launch our summer, so Europe and the Americas cruises, summer of 2022. So it'll be launching all of the itineraries from, call it May of 22 all the way through November.
Okay, great. And our next question is from Jeff. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. How quickly after sailing start might trainings at sea restart as well?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that. How quickly after we start sailing?
Do you think trainings at sea could restart as well?
Oh, okay, sorry. Bobby, that's a good question. I haven't gotten that one before. I have to candidly tell you that I think training at sea, or any kind of, agency opportunity to visit our ships, I have a feeling will be quite a time after we start sailing. And most of it will be based on, we want to make sure we're as I hope you all would understand, and not only understand, but support, we want to ensure that we can sail without incident as much as possible, ensure the health and safety protocols can be, certainly implemented correctly. And so to keeping our guests and crew, all healthy and safe. And so the less movement we have off and on of, ship tours or ship inspections, additional guests, is going to be very important. So I don't have a timeline for you, and I'm not evading the question. I just don't really have the exact timeline, but I can tell you that I think it will be quite delayed from the time that we start sailing.
Got it. That makes sense. Our next question is from Dana, who is wondering if Oceania offers any help with virtual cruise nights.
Oh, you know what? That's on me, because we need to create a few, don't we? We will actually. I've done a few virtual cruise nights. Our sales team is poised, but when I say it's on me, in the sense that we're actually developing a whole new module for them. So right now we have a couple of different cruise night presentations, Zoom calls. I've hosted a few. So we'd be happy to partner with you to do some with your individual agencies, but we're also looking to do some broader ones, and we'll certainly make sure we communicate them through CLIA, some broader ones that you can invite some of your clients that don't know anything about Oceania to just get a little bit more of a feel. So look out for those. But meanwhile, yes, we do have our sales directors at the ready to do some with you for your individual agency.
Okay, great. And our next question is from Gladys, actually going to bundle a couple questions. Can you speak to entertainment on board, and will younger cruisers feel like this ship is for their age group?
Good question. So I'll answer that second one first. It's not, I'm not trying to be glib, it's a little bit of a cliche, but I've always felt for Oceania, it's not about an age thing. Really, it's about someone that likes this type of travel lifestyle. Having said that, our typical guest that comes to Oceania is probably between 50 and 70. Very active though, so an active, call it 50 to 70-year-old. We have very port intensive cruises. I forgot to mention that when we talked about destination. What I mean by that is that we're in port almost every day. And we actually stay in port longer and sometimes overnight in ports because our guests, those that come to Oceania, it's really about that destination experience. They love our ships, don't get me wrong, but it's really about being in port or in the destination longer. So to your question about younger, that's why I say it's not really an age thing. I think a 40-year-old or a 35-year-old or any year-old that loves the way that our itineraries are created, that gives them more time in port, would appreciate and enjoy Oceania. But yes, our sweet spot, or it seems to be, we cater or we attract more in that 50 to 70. From an entertainment perspective, we do have offer, shows in our show lounge, but most of our entertainment is a little bit more personal, a string quartet before dinner, a pianist, a concert, classical guitarist. We, of course, have, again, the production shows I just mentioned and music available and dancing. But I will share with you that entertainment is important. On the other hand, because we're so port intensive, we find that most guests, what they really want is the dining experience, a little bit light entertainment, and then to rest up, to be able to, get up and out early in the morning and really discover the destination. So I would also say we have lecturers and we have an artist loft. So, and then I talked about the culinary center. So I bundle that into entertainment as well, because it's more of like activities that there are to do on board, even if it's not, straight up, let's call it evening entertainment.
Okay, perfect. And we just have a couple more questions. This one is from Wendy, who is wondering, how does the free shore excursion offer apply towards Oceania's unlimited passport collection package?
Oh, perfect. So what happens with the free excursions of O-Life Choice is they can be, there's a little bit of a formula of how many of those complimentary O-Life Choice ones can get nested into then the ultimate package, and the ultimate package then is less costly, so to speak. So it actually gets put in as kind of a credit. And so it does depend on the cruise, because of course the ultimate package varies based on the length of cruise, just like the O-Life Choice excursions vary. So if you call into our guest services team, they can guide you as to what the amended cost would be once you apply the O-Life Choice shore excursions to that package.
Okay, wonderful. And our last question is from Dana, who is wondering if you can speak to wheelchair accessibility for power wheelchair guests on board and on excursions.
Yes, so we have full, of course, on board accessibility. Power wheelchairs are welcome and fine. You do have to, of course, bring your own, but full accessibility throughout the ship, and we do have, of course, accessible staterooms. For off the ship, I will say that it does depend quite a bit on the destination, in the sense that, I think we can all speak to places we've been to which aren't going to be as easy for a power wheelchair or frankly any wheelchair to get around, but we will assist with, on and off the ship if you have a power wheelchair. I don't know if that's directly answering the question, but if I didn't answer it, please do reach out to our guest services team, and our special services department can walk you through any other details on that.
Great. And we did just get one last question from Randy. It's a quick one. He is wondering if reservations for specialty restaurants are required.
Good question. They're not required at all. Having said that, sometimes clients have a specific night that they want to dine in, for example, Red Ginger, which is our Asian restaurant, or they know that on X night they really want to be at Polo Grill, our steakhouse. And so if a guest truly wants to ensure that they will dine at a specific restaurant on a specific night, we encourage reservations. And frankly, I think most of our guests do make the reservations just because they also want to tie in a specific time. But rest assured that if your clients didn't make reservations, the way that we have our ship capacity and the restaurant capacity, every guest will have the opportunity to dine in every restaurant at least once. And then, of course, we have our grand dining room and our terrace cafe, which is available as well. So I would say the shorter answer is not required, but probably highly recommended, just so that we don't disappoint if a guest is looking for a specific time or a specific venue on a specific date.
Okay, great. And those are all of our questions. So thank you, Nikki, so much for all of the wonderful information. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye, everyone.